Welcome. Right, look at these shoes. Styling. You said this is H&M, right?
H&M Aldo.
Woohoo.
Melinda Maria.
Look at that. We're so happy to have you here. Thank you for being here. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you.
This is a nice treat, right, on a Monday? Speaking of treats.
I'm like, I don't even know what day it is.
Fun with food. Let's talk about the inspiration behind this cookbook.
Yeah, the inspiration really for everything, I think, like the entire journey sort of my life has taken is my children. And when I had my children, I realized that I was looking for activities where we could really connect, where we could really be together and create those moments that you remember forever. And where do most of those moments happen? And it's always around a table. It's dinner, it's cooking, it's when you put the phone down. We live in a very technologically connected world, but ultimately we're becoming more and more disconnected. And the kitchen was just such a great moment for us to really communicate, to converse, to talk, and ultimately to give them life skills that they would take with them forever.
And have you always been a cook yourself and have always been passionate about the kitchen?
No. I was very passionate about eating. Mm-hmm. I was very good at eating. I was quite skilled. I'm excellent. I can order really well. But I wasn't. And as more and more information came out about food and how it was being processed and where it was being made and the conditions that workers had to go through to produce our food, it just really became important to me that I knew what I was eating, where it was from, how they got it, and that sort of was what motivated me initially to getting into the kitchen. And I've always been crafty, so finding a way to, there's nothing worse, by the way, than hearing your voice on a microphone. I don't know if any of you know that. So like if you see me constantly squirrel, it's because I'm like, wow, I really don't like hearing my own voice. I need one of those microphones that like just someone else's, like Matthew McConaughey's voice just comes out while I'm talking. Yeah. So I don't know what I was saying, but it was going to be really good, and it was going to be really moving, and you guys were all going to remember it.
So you were talking about how you became a cook yourself. So was it kind of when you became a mother that you had children?
It was really when I became a mom that sort of really pushed me in there, and then I found, wow, this is a really creative space. I can take chances. I can, bring art to it, and I always like to put that little spin on it. And how could I take away that intimidation factor? Because I think that's what always stopped me, was I was always intimidated by it. So how could I remove that stigma for other people?
Do you remember the first dish you cooked that you were like, wow, that tastes delicious. I should really take this up?
Goodness, I remember the first thing I made that was terrible, which was tomato soup once, and it was really not good. But this was like going back to when I was young. I think it was more just like gradual. It was more just like all of a sudden I realized that like my training wheels had come off and I was really having fun and I was really creative, and I just wanted other people to know who had that same fear factor that I did, that you can go in and be creative. And sometimes it's just about presentation. Mm-hmm. So much of what we determine about food is on first appearance is what it looks like. So the more fun you can make it, it helps to not get in a rut. Whether it's, I always say like living in New York is hard. You have really small areas for everything, and like, I love serving things in a cupcake muffin tray. Like, why not? You have it in there. Like, why have to get another serving tray? Just pop it in there and, serve crudité. Or, if you have cookie cutters, why not use them to make great shapes? There's nothing better, like, than a kid or an adult, like, if you're packing for your husband or your mom, whoever. Like, they open up their lunchbox and, like, it's spelled out. And it doesn't take a lot of time to put that in, but it means a lot to the other person.
So how did you go about, crafting this book yourself? How did you pick the recipes and, the crafty sort of things that you threw in?
I mean, it definitely went through a bunch of evolutions. It started, I was originally going to do chapters like put it in a muffin tin, put it, on a stick. Because I have this theory that if you put anything in a cupcake form or on a stick, a child will eat it. Like, just because it looks like a popsicle, it looks like a cupcake, I will eat it. But then my Brussels sprout cupcakes didn't come out so well, so I'm just kidding. They're great, actually. And then I sort of decided to do it by month, because I always think there's reasons to get in the kitchen, and what are those reasons each month that like make you get in there. So whether it was, and we tried to be fun about it. So like we have in May we did a Star Wars chapters for May the 4th be with you, and Star Wars themed desserts. Or I happen to love Shark Week. I'm alone in my household. Nobody else likes Shark Week but me. But I love, like, that's a great theme, and just sort of to go from there and have fun.
Yeah. Are your kids like incredible cooks now that they've been doing it at such a young age?
Yeah, I mean, and I learn a lot from them in the sense that they're fearless in the kitchen. Like, they're willing to try any ingredient, toss it in, don't follow a recipe, and I'm trying to sort of take that from them.
Have they ever come to you and said, Mom, I really want you to make this?
That's so funny.
This?
Just this weekend, I was telling someone that Charlotte was like, I want to make pancakes. And I said, okay. She said, but I want to make strawberry and cinnamon. I wanted to cut up fresh strawberries and then put cinnamon, and I want to make them into muffins. And I was like, okay. And we did. They were great.
Wow. See? She's already got the knack for she can have a Food Network show.
Hey, look, at the end of the day, we have kids so that someone can take care of me. She needs to feed me. She needs to, Yeah, right, I got a teacher now.
So what would you say are, your top 5 recipes in this book that are your go-tos that you would make on a normal week?
Goodness, let's see. On the treat side, I would say I love all the pancake muffins. I love, for me, being able to just like make the pancakes, put it in the oven, and be able to walk away for a little bit. And I love the lemon poppy seed muffins because I love like lemon poppy seed. That combination to me is I'm sorry. And I brought nothing. I brought no treats. I'm going to sit here and talk about food for 30 minutes, and I'm going to give you none of it. Yeah, so sorry. So that's just how I am. Love me or hate me. And then, let's see, I love the asparagus fries. They're really good, like a really fun twist on, we do a great thing with cauliflower popcorn, which I know sounds kind of strange, but I feel like we're so trained to just like eat popcorn while we watch television or movies or whatever. So why not substitute it out for something else? So we take popcorn and we flavor it sometimes with garlic or lemon or truffle salt, and then you bake it, and then we put it in a popcorn tin so that when you're sitting eating, you're still getting that sensation that you do, but why have popcorn that has no nutritional value? With some veggies.
And some flavor.
And some flavor. I like a little spice, a little cayenne on them. It's very good.
It's really good. I know your husband, Freddie Prinze Jr., also released a cookbook last year, and he was here talking about his cooking skills. Are you guys do you work together in the kitchen, or are you kind of separate?
I always say, let me clarify. He is a chef. Mm-hmm. He went to culinary school. He makes the big meals. Like, you're not going to find any Chateaubriand recipes in here. That's not what this is about. I leave those big things to him. But for me, it's more just about the sort of the creative side and making it not so complicated, less steps. I mean, so often I'll get some of my friends' cookbooks or a chef I really admire, and I get really excited because I'm going to make that dish so I don't have to fly all over the world. And then I see how many steps and how complicated it is. And I'm like, you know what? I'll wait for my next trip.
Yeah, you're like, I don't need that.
I don't have 2 days to make that.
What's like a typical Sunday like at your house in the kitchen with all of you? Are you cooking? Or are you just hanging out, making popcorn?
Are you coming over?
Please, I would love to.
Goodness, I mean, I don't know if there is a typical. I mean, Sunday we definitely try to do breakfast all together, and we make something, it's a little more complicated because obviously it's not time sensitive. And then we always a lot of times on Sundays we try to do family dinner where we'll cook something big, and then we'll eat, at 5:30 all together. We'll have friends over and swimming. And this week, actually, my husband cooked because it was actually Saturday. Wait, I'm so confused. Sorry. I flew in at 1 a.m, and I started my day at 5, which is like 2. I'm so confused. I don't even know who I am. Buffy, thank you. Yes, that is who I am. So Saturday, see, I know what I'm talking about, ish. Saturday, my husband made pulled pork tacos. And they were delicious. They marinated all day, little cucumber, avocado. It was really good. Now I'm hungry.
Yeah, me too. I've been hungry this whole time.
Sorry, I brought nothing. I know. I brought nothing.
All the food she eats, right? She looks great. Well, let's talk
active
about
lifestyle. And also ingredients. I think so much about what you eat is the ingredients. I've always believed you should always have treats. Like, it's when you limit yourself, I'm not going to have any sweets, I'm not going to have any of this, you're just missing out. Like, life is short, but when you do have the best possible ingredients you can when you cook.
What would be your last meal ever that you could not leave this earth without eating it one last time?
10 more meals. Probably, I'm a sushi girl.
Yeah?
I'd probably say sushi.
Do you make homemade sushi?
No.
No?
I tried once.
It's so difficult.
Me with knives that sharp, I don't know, it just doesn't seem like a really great idea. That would be the answer to my biggest mishap in the kitchen will be the time I tried to make sushi and cut off all my fingers. So I don't think that's a...
And you sewed them back on?
Yeah, totally.
And so what is one thing, in this book that you're super proud of, that you think stands out, and that kind of, relates back to who you are as a person and not just a cook?
I think it's about just the essence of it. It's about really appreciating where your food comes from, what it looks like, and making more of a meal. I mean, yes, we have to eat to sustain life, but it's also a recharge moment for us emotionally, physically, and really to take that time to enjoy it. You don't have to make it super complicated to be beautiful and to taste good.
And I want to talk about your transition kind of from, acting. You're always acting and performing, but you have a company called Food Stirs that is so successful and amazing. I hope all of you have tried it. How did you kind of go about getting into the lifestyle world and that brand?
Goodness, it goes back about 3 or 4 years ago, and I was at that time in my life, and I thought, what do I want to do next? I have 2 young children. I do like to challenge myself, but I also wanted to make sure that I was in a place where I could be really present for them. And unfortunately, our lifestyle doesn't always, make that easy. And a girlfriend of mine, our daughters were friends, and they wanted to have a play date. And they loved all the cooking shows. They wanted to, do like Top Chef in the house. And they wanted to bake, which is, one of the easiest ways to really motivate people in the kitchen. You smell those cookies, you're like, you're coming and running. And we looked online, and everything just seemed like so complicated and impossible. And so we went to the store to buy a mix, and we looked at the shelf, and we were really surprised because there you have what you think is this modern supermarket, right? I live in New York City, I live in Los Angeles, and what was on the shelves were these old legacy brands filled with chemicals and salt and dyes, and I thought, well, that doesn't make sense. Like, why isn't there like a better for you, baking brand? So then we went sort of to the other side to a more healthy store, and we realized everything was either gluten-free or it was lacking in taste. It was all about the ingredients, and it was like thick, and we realized that no one had done that part of the supermarket. You see, the outside, the organic fruits and vegetables and juices, and you realize that the middle of the supermarket's getting kind of lost. And we also realized that, we could be really creative and we could do it. And my friend was going to kind of run with the idea. And I was like, don't you want a partner? And she's like, I don't know, maybe one day. And I was like, hi. And it took her a while to convince her that I was serious and that I could commit to it. And we did it. We have our third part. So that was Gleet. And we have our third partner, Greg. And they're all here today hiding somewhere. I have no idea where. Probably far away from wherever there are cameras. And that was, we launched online about 1.5 years ago. And we've just hit retail this summer. And hopefully by the end of this year, we'll be nationwide.
That's incredible.
But it's pretty amazing. And I've learned so much about food in the process. Just in terms of ingredients. Like when we try to have, most of our products have less than 6 ingredients anyway, but what are those ingredients and how can you possibly find like the best ingredients? So like flour. We sat there and tasted 30 flours if we tasted one, and we found this multi-generational heirloom flour that like we can trace back to the acre it was grown on. Or we use biodynamic sugar, which is like the purest form of regenerative farming. Like, so it's like sort of the next wave in what's good for our planet. Or when we use cocoa, we use fair trade equal exchange cocoa, which is, if you know anything about fair trade, it's obviously about making sure that the workers are taken care of and that the working conditions are good. And that's a 12-hour workday. Ours is an 8-hour. So like really trying to find, what tastes great but also is good for our planet. And
I'm sure that was fun too to kind of be in the lab or the
kitchen.
kitchen.
I was gonna say my job really sucks. I taste sweet things all day long.
What's your favorite sweet thing to eat?
Goodness, it's usually like whatever the last thing I ate was. I love our chocolate chip cookies. I'm big on our pancakes, but we've been testing some new ones lately, and so then those are kind of like in my mind, like what's coming next, and getting to work on that.
Well, I have to, of course, mention that Buffy was 20 years this month or last month.
Oh my God, it's April last month.
Yes. And you had a cool reunion with Entertainment Weekly. What was that like? You guys all got together. It was pretty awesome.
It was great. A lot of us see each other quite often, but when you see people now, it's, you talk about what's happening in your life now. So I think to really take that time, very, very rarely, maybe like at a college reunion, maybe you sit back and you reminisce a little bit, but you don't really get to think about the impact both, on you, on the culture, and it was nice to be able to sort of take that walk.
Yeah. Being a part of a cast, all these fans are always asking, when are you going to have a reunion? Or are you guys getting back together? Or we want a revival. As a cast, do you find that
they want it until they see it and they don't like it. And they're like, why did you do that? You ruined my favorite show. And then it all comes back down on you.
But is it weird for you to be a part of a show where your fans just want you guys to do that?
It's incredible. I mean, as an actor, all you hope is that you do something that means something to someone, that makes an impact, that stands the test of time. So, no, it's awesome.
Are you yourself into like 90s nostalgia? And is there a show that you watch that you would love to see the cast get back together?
I don't know. You've actually stumped me. Like I said, I don't even know what I ate for. Did I have breakfast? I was gonna say what I ate for breakfast. I don't know if I don't know. I like seeing creativity, new and original, and new ideas, and I don't know.
I know, because David Boreanaz was here, and I asked him, "Will there be a Buffy reunion?"
Oh, he's very adamant. Yeah.
And he's just like, I am immortal, like, and I have aged. Like, this is not going to be good.
By the way, this body, I don't think could put up. I would break every bone in my body. I think Buffy was a movie, and it didn't work. It worked better told over time and, through a long story. But also, we have to remember, it was about the horrors of adolescence and how those manifest into the monsters that were the actual monsters in our show. And I don't know what that translates to into today. And I also think that you can't please everyone. And we had 7 amazing seasons, and it still lives on in... I'm so sorry. I know, I made you hungry and I've ruined your life. Now, aren't you glad you spent your Monday with me? But it lives on in fan fiction, in comic books, in graphic novels, and I think that's really cool that it can live on sort of in that immortal way. Because James, David, myself, none of us are immortal.
You're like, no. There's something to be said about a show just stopping and not coming back, guys. I think the reboot...
Not jumping the shark, like...
Right? I mean, I loved the Gilmore Girls revival, too, but I would have been fine with it not coming back as well.
But again, that works differently, too, because it's about a mother-daughter relationship, right? And that show, a mother-daughter relationship evolves, because as you grow up, the mother becomes... Look, I get how that all works. I'm just not sure how the horrors of adolescence translates into a very tired girl over here that really doesn't want to work all night long in a graveyard.
And have you seen at all like a resurgence of younger generations discovering Buffy for the first time?
And that's what's so amazing, too, is when someone tells me, like, I love the show and now I'm watching it with my daughter, and that they still love it. Like, that's the whole thing. If the show still works and people are still enjoying it, like, don't mess with it. Like, if it ain't broke, I'm not fixing it.
Yeah, don't fix it.
Yeah, I mean, have you ever seen me change a light bulb? It's not a good story. I don't.
Well, I have to say, that was really cool to see you guys all back together, wasn't it? That was awesome.
And it was really fun to do that and to be able to give that. And I feel like there's other ways to do that and to keep it going and to honor what we created.
Mm-hmm. And before I go to audience Q&A, I have to ask you about this cool Twitter exchange that you and LinManuel Miranda had this weekend. It's like my 2 idols in one on Twitter.
I think sometimes people think that maybe because we're celebrities that we don't have those geek fan out moments. And I love In the Heights. My daughter is obsessed with Bring It On the musical, or as he calls it, the poor middle child that gets lost in the shuffle. And of course, I mean, Hamilton is unbelievable. And one day I tweeted something and he liked it and retweeted it. And it was such this moment for me of like, what just happened? He knows I'm alive. Like, I just couldn't. And then everyone started telling me, oh, he does these like Buffy reenact, but I had no idea. So we started talking to each other in GIFs of each other, and it continues on.
So good. I love it. I think Lynn should write a Broadway show, maybe for you. Would you be in a Broadway show with Lynn?
Have you heard me sing? Nobody wants to see that. I mean, people like me right now. Why make them hate me?
You know what? You're right.
That was rough. Did you hear my voice? That's not my strong suit.
No singing, no food for us, no Buffy, guys.
I mean, I am really I'm killing it here. Yay!
Well, I do want to get to some audience questions because there's a lot of you. So who's first?
I think I'm first. Hi, my name is Maddie. My question for you is, since you've lived in LA, you've lived in New York, they have great food culture. So I was wondering what your go-to comfort food or guilty pleasure for food is.
Oh, good question. There's so many places I love. Like, I have my haunts when I come back to New York. Like, today I've been craving the meatball shop. Have you ever been to the meatball shop?
Yes,
oh my God, it's so good. Stanton Social here. I love me some French onion soup dumplings, some Chris Santos. Ooh, they're so good. Balthazar, an old standby, but I love me some Balthazar salad, just like there. Shun Li for Chinese food. That's like a New York. John's Pizzeria when I'm here. I would say the only thing that LA really has on New York is sushi. I would say that sushi in Los Angeles is really like asanebo, and we have sasabune. Like we have some really fabulous, so. Oh God, see, I'm only talking about food now. See what happens? Yeah.
Now I'm like, I want to go to the meatball shop.
Right?
So good.
Once I started thinking about the meatball shop, I couldn't stop.
Yeah. Naked balls. I mean, I love them.
Hi.
I did not say that. Let's just clarify that was not me. I just want to make sure.
Hi. Last year when Freddie was here, he said one of your favorite foods from his cookbook was called goddamn. So I wanted to know, what's his from your cookbook?
Goodness, there's a couple. He loves just our basic Foodsters cupcakes, and he goes like bonkers if anyone like goes near his cupcakes. Like the other day, someone brought cupcakes over, and he's like, "Are these Foodsters?" And we're like, "No," he's like, "I don't want them." I mean, he's like, and then he made me make him the cupcakes. So I would say probably the just Foodsters cupcakes. Although he does like the lemon poppy seed too.
We discovered when he was here that he's a huge Star Wars fan and sort of a video gamer, which I never.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was cool.
But who isn't a Star Wars fan? I mean, that's like saying, you know,
Yeah.
anyone here, I mean,
Watch
you're not a Star Wars fan?
Look at these.
Really? 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 You need to watch some Star Wars.
Seven Sister on Incredibles?
Thank you. Yes, but even still, the movies are so good. See, good, sure. No, but New Generation's fine too. Like that's my, Star Wars. It all works. Like whether you're old school, maybe not the middle ones as much, maybe more the later ones. But everyone's got an opinion.
Yeah.
Clone Wars.
Clone Wars, yeah. All right, who's next?
Hi, Sarah. My name's Sasha. I'm a huge fan. I was wondering, I watch a lot of the cooking channel. Do you have anybody that inspires you in the cooking industry? And also, is there like a particular food that you make that your family loves or that you love that you make? And also, I've bought a lot of your Foodsters, and I think they're great.
Well, thank you. Yes, of course I watch the Food Network. Like, I love the Food Network. I'm inspired by anyone. I'm inspired by the person on the street that tells me, like, oh, my God, I had this idea, and I made this meal. And I just like people that try stuff. I love watching the kids on Chop Junior. I got to be a judge on it once because I love watching, like, their determination and their ideas and the way it works. I gotta say, I like me some guys, diner and drive-ins. Like, I don't know if I could eat all that food, but I like the thought of eating all that food. I feel like I would have some real heartburn. I feel like that would be not my best moment.
Many times.
Many times. Yeah. Many times, many times. And then do I have a favorite? I'm hard on myself, so I'm always, like, thinking about the next thing and, like, what's the next recipe? What's our next kit? What can we do to improve the flavor of this? So I'm trying to think if there's something that I've been trying to get better about breakfast lately because that's the one that, like, I'm always on the go. And I've really gotten into, like, quinoa and avocado and, like, maybe putting some vegetables in there and spicing that up and getting creative. But my coffee skills are also mad good. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just trying to think about all of them. But even, like, I love we do these asparagus fries in the book that are so good. And just, like, different twists on, it's just so we're not always in that same rut. And we still want that crunch of a French fry, but what can we replace it with that might be a little bit better?
Well, this segment has made me so hungry. And I think that you should invent the smell-o-vision because I still want to TV.
I want to invent every time my husband, like, makes something or I make something and, like, we post an Insta story. Like, why does this not smell like? If only you could smell how good this house smells. And for some reason, our house, it always smells better upstairs. Like, the kitchen's downstairs, but the way the house is, like, when you're up, it just smells so good.
Just bottle it up and make some candles.
I'll get right on that.
Yeah, the Prince House candles. We know that I want to be there for Sunday dinner, so
yes.
I'm already there. So Fun with Food is out tomorrow.
Tomorrow, Tuesday. That is tomorrow, right?
It's a great book, guys. Pick it up. And thank you all so much for being here. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.
Loved having you.